Hello friends, and welcome to the Hanged Man in the Moon. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, if you are a returning visitor, you know that I have begun a different kind of Decan walk, and that's what I'm calling it, a different kind of Decan walk. And it's different because I'm not following the associations that were worked out by the Golden Dawn. I'm using associations that I feel are older, have a perhaps, for me, stronger tradition. And I'm not trying to make anybody wrong. I'm just trying to find a way of associating the astrological information and the Kabbalistic information to the Tarot that feels more attuned with my own personal understanding. Yes? And so, I've got a whole series in which I laid out my rediscovered associations for all of that information with Tarot, and I'll put a card up here if you want to go and look at that playlist, because that'll give you a better introduction to what I'm doing here than I could do here now. Yes, I spent a lot of time on that, so go check that out if you haven't already. But we are here. We're in the first Decan. Yes, the first Decan of Gemini. Yes, and we're coming out of the last Decan of Taurus, right? Which was keyed to Capricorn. So we had Saturn in Taurus up until just recently. And now we're about to plunge into Mercury in Gemini. Yes, are you all ready for that? So, friends, before we get into that, let me first say thank you. Thank you for doing all those things that you do. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Thank you for hitting the thumbs up button. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. All of those things you do help other people find us. Help YouTube decide to show our channel to other people, and our community steadily grows because of you, and thank you. And thank you for all of you who comment in the comment section. You are a blessing to me and to the community, so thank you. What we're going to do here in this video, as in the rest of the videos for this series, I will start off with a recap of the previous Decan, what I've noticed, and then we will dive into the new Decan. We'll start off with an oracle card, which helps us to really focus our attention on what the qualities of this Decan are, just as the planet in the sign. Yes? And then, because these Decans were originally invented, and yes, let's call it invented by the Egyptians, yeah? I've got another oracle deck which helps us unpack the Egyptian concepts for Decans, and as closely as I am able to understand it, I am going to pull out the Decan that closely matches the calendar time of this season at the time of the codification of the Western astrological tropical system as it aligned with the Egyptian system. If that makes sense. And if it doesn't make sense, ask me in the comment section below and I will give a better explanation. Okay, so then the second step is we look at the Egyptian idea for this Decan, and then we will pick out the minor arcana card for this Decan, and then we'll dive into that and how the astrology informs our understanding of that card. Yes? And then we go into hyper esoterica. Yes? We will look at the two major arcana cards which inform that one minor arcana card for this Decan. And then I will pull out a 3-card spread using to answer questions that arose for me as I looked at the information for this Decan, as I looked at the information for the 3 cards for this Decan. Yeah, the 2 major arcana and the 1 minor arcana. Does that make sense? If so, great, let's keep going. If not, follow along. You'll figure it, you'll understand. Yes, you will get it. Now, in the description box, I will have a lot of information. I will have the decks that I am using in this series, well, in this part of the series, because every zodiacal sign I'm switching out one of my tarot decks. So the two tarot decks and the two oracle decks that I'm using, there will be links in the description box below if you want to go get them on your own. The two books that I'm using as light Decan references, I will have links to those in the description box below as well. And there will be timestamps. So if you just want to see the information about the Minor Arcana card for this Decan, you can hop on over to that. If you want to hop on over to the deeper or more intricate esoteric associations, you can hop right on over to that and skip over other parts. You can go right to the spreads at the end if you want, or you can, your choice. Yeah, it's a choose and play kind of video for you. Are you all ready, friends? We're about to begin. So first, I will show you, first recap. I almost forgot the recap. Okay, so full disclosure, my own personal business in this Decan, and kind of makes sense, it being personal business for the third Decan of Taurus, yes? My own personal business in this Decan has been so all-consuming for me that I haven't had the bandwidth to pay too much attention to what's been happening out in the world. Yes? So, the information that I'm going to relate here is mostly personal. From the larger sphere to a smaller sphere. Yeah, and the larger sphere, at work, something interesting happened. Now remember, Taurus, the third Decan of Taurus was ostentation, yeah? Showing off the things that we have, having pride in the things that we have, the material things that we have, wanting to perhaps increase the amount of materials things that we have, but also wanting a balance of material. We want to perhaps share a little bit of that material with others. We also want to focus on our own understanding as we increase our material resources. Yes? So what have I noticed? In the work sphere, recently, 2 days ago in fact, there was an email sent out to all of us, at least the foreign professors at the university, saying that, oops, the university made a mistake. They overpaid us by a certain amount of money. And so, the university said, to balance that out, they are going to underpay us for the next 4 months, so it's not all taken out at once, but they're going to underpay us by a certain amount for the next 4 months to compensate for that. Balancing, sure. Generous, not in the least. We're also not getting paid our overtime that we're working now until the end of the contract, just in case the second semester our time is not... Just in case they don't give us enough classes in the second semester, they don't want to pay us overtime until they realize that, yes, it is actually going to be overtime for the year, not for the semester. That might not make sense to you. It doesn't really make sense to me, but if you have questions about that, ask me in the comment section below. So, the whole system is not really very generous or very just, I think, but it is fair because everybody's being treated the same. Right? The difference between just and fair. Okay, so, in my larger personal sphere, there is that. On the smaller sphere, I've had to very, very uncomfortably take care of some legal issues that were related to my mother's property in the United States so that she has money to pay for her care. Yes? And it's notarized documents and that kind of thing. Very Saturn Taurus kind of stuff. Yeah? Not easy, complicated, and the process of doing it was not easy, smooth, or convenient. Yes? So there was that kind of that was going on. On the lighter side, yes, I bought a bunch of decks. Yes, okay, so I did buy a bunch of decks, and I was actually able to get one of my unicorn decks just a couple of days ago at a reasonable price, yeah? I hadn't seen somebody mention it on one video, and I thought, oh heck, let's just go into eBay and see if there are any listings for that, and I found a listing at a price that I thought I can afford okay without feeling like I'm paying too much. Now, is it a complete set? Like, does it have a box? No, it doesn't, but that's okay because the price was low enough and it's a deck that I've been wanting for years. So that was good. That was a very last decan of Taurus for me, I think. On the more generous side, I decided to gift a few decks to my mentees in my tarot study meetup group. Yes, I've got a group of people who gather together, and I am the leader of this group. I am the mentor. They are the mentees. We are studying tarot together. So I decided to gift some decks to them, and so that was a Six of Pentacles kind of event in my life, I think. So all of those things felt very last decan of Taurus for me. Does that make sense for you? I really would love to hear your experience of the previous decan. Yeah? What has clicked for you? What has felt like, that felt really that felt really third decan of Taurus for me. That felt very Saturn in Taurus for me. Or I didn't really feel it this way. I felt it differently. Now, I'd love to hear what your thoughts, feelings, impressions were for the last decan. We've got the comment section below. We've got a community tab on the channel as well. Use it all. It's all up for you. Okay? So, friends, now we're ready to dive into this decan. I will start off by showing you the oracle card for this decan, and we'll take a look at it together. Here it is. So this is the card from the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. Was it the Radiant Sun or the Oracle of the Radiant Sun? Yeah, and again, there's a link in the description box below. It's a wonderful deck. If you're interested in exploring the classical 7 heavenly lights in all of the zodiacal signs, this is the Oracle deck for you. And I find it very helpful for this decan walk. Yes, so you see here, the card is called Excitement. Yes, and you can see at the bottom we have Mercury and Gemini, because this is the first decan of Gemini and it is ruled by Mercury. So Mercury and Gemini. And we have mutable heirs, vital attributes entering our lives right now. Yes? So in this card, what do you see? You see an older, the creator calls it a sagacious figure, of an older man, yeah, blowing a horn. At first I thought the horn was in his ear, like he was having a hard time hearing, but he's actually blowing that horn. Riding on a horse that is prancing. The sound, you can see those that gold light shooting off from him off to the right. Do you see that? That gold light shooting off to the right? That is sound waves, according to the creator of this deck. The sound broadcasts across a cloudy sky. Behind, there is a venerated tower, which symbolizes past wisdom and achievements. So we've got past wisdom and achievements in the background. We've got a wise old guy maybe because it's a mutable sign, a wise old guy riding very energetically on a prancing horse, blowing a horn, and the sound of that horn goes far and wide. Yeah? Beautiful image. So what does that mean for the creator of this deck? According to her, Mercury in Gemini indicates people who have an excitable, agile, and a versatile mind. So for us, perhaps in this decan, our brains will get a little bit more nimble, a little bit more flexible, a little bit more interested, but maybe excitable. And that excitability could be a small warning sign, yeah? Excitable can be very good, it can be energizing, but it could also be danger, 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 right? Or a little sensitive, excitable, right? There's an intense curiosity in this decan for everything going on around us, giving us sparkling pleasure in life if things feel good. We're capable of deep, concentrated thought, but we have a desire instead. I mean, we have that capability, but our desire is actually to spread ourselves mentally, to learn everything about everything. So that means a very surface level exploration of a broad variety of topics where we have the capability to dive deep and go deep in thought about specific things, but our desire is to go wide and broad. Does that make sense? We prefer a holistic approach, yeah? A holistic approach to specialized research. Yeah, we'd like to understand the big picture rather than specializing, focusing, diving deep on one or a limited number of topics. We love communicating in all of its forms, texting, maybe YouTube videos, writing letters, reading letters, books, magazines, social media. All of those things, all of those forms of communication are very pleasurable for us in this decan. Yeah? It's a good time for busy, communicative socializing. Yeah? Chatting with people is a great time for that. Be careful of indecisiveness. This is a problem with some Geminis. There's so many different possibilities and so many thoughts that it's difficult to pin them down, right? To make a decision. So we want to be careful of becoming indecisive. Even when jumping from decision to decision seems exciting, that can be really annoying for other people. Well, we could do this, and then there's all these ideas around this, and but we could do that, and then there's all these ideas around that, but there's that, and then other people look at us and like, what the? Pick one, right? So we want to be careful of being indecisive. Okay, so that makes really good sense, I think, for Mercury in Gemini. Mercury, quick, communicative, sending messages, a little bit of a trickster, right? In the area of the air and the mind and the twins, the two different ideas, the two different kinds of ways of being in the world joined together, but still two, of Gemini. So, all wonderful things. And those clouds in the sky are not, this is a dreary, gloomy time of our lives, but just be careful of confusion, I think. Okay? Okay, so friends, we're here. We've just entered the beginnings of Gemini, and we're starting to get a grasp of what this decan is going to be. Let's see if the Egyptian decan will inform our understanding differently. Let me show you the card, and let's talk about it. Here it is. So, you see this decan. Instead of a guy on a horse blowing golden sound, we've got a guy holding a stick stoking a golden fire, right? There's a lot of energy in this card as well. Do you notice that? And what do we see? Yeah, the title for this Decan, or yes, this image is Remen, Khery, Sa. Remen, Khery, Sa. And it indicates the lower arm of Sa. Now, we've had the upper arm of Sa in a previous Decan. Do you remember that? Here we have the lower arm of Sa. And this also becomes its own god. Yes? And you can see at the bottom of this card, illumination or revelation. So those are things for us to consider when we think of this Decan, right? Remember, we've got that curiosity, looking at a lot of stuff broadly on the surface, but even in that case, with that desire to do that rather than going deep, there is the possibility of illumination and revelation. The light springing up from below, perhaps. So just because we don't dive deep, that light can shine from below. So this is a picture of a metal worker stoking a fire, right? The other card we got had the sagacious gentleman on the prancing horse blowing golden sound out into the world. This is a less sagacious, younger gentleman increasing the fire. So this is the Decan of the provider of divine revelations. Yeah, illumination of new knowledge and potential for learning something perhaps we might be better off not knowing. So just because we are illuminated, just because information is revealed, doesn't necessarily mean this is stuff we're going to want to know. Yes? The revelation could be of something that will make us uncomfortable. But not necessarily, but it could. We want to keep on the lookout for hidden signs that spark sudden knowledge. So, remember, Mercury, wanting to know everything about everything, looks around, keeps her eye out. And so as we keep our eyes open and we're scanning our environment, we want to keep our eyes open for signs and signals from the divine, from our higher selves, from our inner guides, whatever you believe is or are the ones who provide those clues and those signs and signals for you. Those are the ones we want to keep our eyes out and open for. We want to be ready for mind to light up with inspiration or insight at unexpected moments. Be ready for surprises. That sounds pretty cool. But also remember that just like there were those clouds in the background that cautioned us to be aware of the potential for confusion and not being able to make decisions, yes, here we also want to be aware of the potential that things that we learn might not make us happy all the time. But it won't make us unhappy all the time either. Just be aware, just be prepared. Some information will make us go, ew, really? Really? But some of us will, oh, yes. Does that make sense? So this sounds like a really interesting time of year for us. Personally, so full disclosure, sun sign is Leo. Leo and air, actually, I think they get along pretty well. Yeah, they are elementally well dignified. Fire and air light each other up, right? Also, my Mercury is in Virgo. Now, Virgo is in Earth, so Earth and air are ill-dignified. However, my Mercury likes communication, likes talking and likes structured, organized communication and structured thoughts. So maybe here, being in Gemini, if I can find some order and allow the insights and inspiration to appear within that structure, I could be very happy. Now, where is your Mercury? Where are you elementally in relationship to air? If you can understand those things, maybe that will help you understand whether this will be a comfortable or less comfortable time for you. For me, it sounds really exciting and interesting and full of potential, ripe with potential. Yes? Okay, friends, so you know my next step, if you've been following along with me, is to look at some information from other sources. Yes? So the two books that I mentioned, and they're in the description box below, one of the books gives us a brief, nice summary, pithy expressions for the Decan, and then the other book will give us a need for the Decan. So first, let me read from this book in the description box below, yes, a brief section for the first Decan of Gemini. Yes, so these authors, two authors, say that because of this double Mercury influence, Mercury and Gemini, those with this decanate prominent in their horoscope have unusual intellectual abilities. They possess quick perception and curious and inquiring intellect that tends to be influenced by whatever impinges on their consciousness. So, yes, think magpie, right? Ooh, bright, shiny, right? And I love magpies. Just saying. If you're interested in knowing about my relationship with magpies recently, ask me in the comment section below. They can, however, be vacillating, indecisive, and scattered with a certain nervous restlessness of mind and body. So all of those things are possible, even according to this handy-dandy guide. Now, the need for this Decan, according to the second book that I have listed in the description box below, the need for this Decan is the need to learn to hear the voice of silence in order to more clearly follow our own insights, as too much talk can block our own inner intuition. So we want to be careful. We want to allow space for ourselves to see those signs around us. If we're too engaged in communication and chatter, in talking, we will miss some important information. So, some silence is going to be necessary for us in this Decan. And that silence, if we find it, if we allow ourselves to not close our eyes, but open our eyes in silence, to be receptive, maybe magic can happen. Does that seem possible for you? Does that sound exciting for you? How does that feel for you? How does that sit for you? I'd love to know. Why? Apparently, I've already started to get into this Mercury in Gemini frame of mind, yes? So, ladies and gentlemen, friends and family, children of all ages, friends, let's move on to the tarot card for this Decan. Yes? And here it is. Friends, this card, yes, this card, the Seven of Swords. This is our card for this Decan. What do you think of this card? Is this a positive card? Is it a negative card? Is it a neutral one for you? For me, I tend to read this card mostly in a positive way unless it is in a reversal. Yes, unless it is a part of the spread that is clearly a problematic part, if it clearly looks like it's blocking, if it looks like it's elementally ill-dignified, if there's another specific reason, if I'm shuffled in reversals, but if there's another specific reason that it should be read in a reversed kind of way, then I will go in that direction. However, generally, I will see this card in a more positive way. Yes? Because for me, in these reassociations I've done for Tarot for myself, the Seven of Swords is a representative for the first decan of Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury. So we've got Mercury in Gemini. And Mercury is very comfortable. It's very happy in its own house. Yeah? In its own domicile, I should say. Because this is a 7, 7 is associated on the Tree of Life with the Sephirah of Netzach. And Netzach is the Sephirah of victory, of winning. Yeah? So that's a very positive thing. Now, there's a dark side to winning sometimes. If there's a winner, there's a loser. But for this card, this is the winner, I think. And we got, again, mutable heirs, vital attributes entering our lives here in this decan. So, upright, for me, because this is Mercury in Gemini, I think of adaptable thinking. Yes? Able to think on our own, able to change the way we think, able to perceive things differently. A little bit like the Hanged Man for me in the Major Arcana. Now, the Hanged Man is not one of the associated cards here, but there is a Hanged Man quality, I think, to Gemini of seeing things in from different perspectives, in different ways, of being mentally agile and adaptable. There is an intellectual capacity to this card, right? Quick perceptions. Mercury, quick, right? Curious and inquiring. A little bit nervous. We still have that possibility here, being a little bit nervous, a little sensitive, right? A little bit restless. You can see the guy not staying put, right? He's taking his swords and he's going off on his own. A keyword I might think of is insight for this card, right? You look at this and you think, oh, I get it. Okay, so this stuff is mine and I'm going. A lot of people see this guy as the one who's robbing other people. But unless this card is in reverse, I think this is the guy who's realized, okay, this is my stuff. These are my ideas. I'm going to run with them. Yeah? However, this guy, you see, he's not just carrying one sword. He's got a lot of swords there. He's leaving some of the thoughts and ideas and the communication behind, but he's grabbed a whole bunch of stuff. So he's not choosing one and diving deep into that, drilling down at that one thing. He's got a whole bunch of stuff, right? So there's the continuing understanding that our knowledge is not in-depth here. We are not in-depth thinkers in this decan. We skate over the surface of a diversity of ideas and thoughts and communicative events in our lives. A question I might ask of this card is, what assumption or strategy needs reconsideration? What is the new perception that I would benefit from? And because this is the first decan of this zodiacal sign, we have the ruler of the planet in its domicile. And so what does Mercury and Gemini tell us? Yeah, this is mental agility again. Information moving freely and quickly. Perception and our perceptive skills easily engaged. We can see things quickly and easily and clearly. On the surface, again, right? We scan, we see, we catch ideas, we catch things with our eyes, we catch things with our minds. And ideas are explored rather than being fixed. We don't latch on to one idea and say, this is it, right? We explore many different ideas. Or we carry many different ideas at the same time, like the guy in this card. So there could be a challenge to that, but it could also be interesting, exciting, and many thoughts can create more thoughts, right? This idea and this idea can merge and form a third possibility. So there is a lot of, again, potential here. Potential insight, potential inspiration, potential sparks of understanding. All very exciting, I think. Okay, so, friends, we have some esoterica to dive into much more deeply. Are you ready for that? So, what I will do is I will show you the two major arcana cards that inform this card here. And I'll also show you the Tree of Life and where the Tree of Life is lit up for the three cards we're about to talk about. Are you ready for all of that? If you are, stay tuned and I will show it to you now. Friends, here are those three cards again. Yes, and you see from left to right, we had the Chariot. Now, I know some people who are very attached to the Rider-Waite-Smith system will be a little bit freaked out because they will be saying, no, no, no. The Chariot is Cancer, but for me now, the Chariot is Gemini. Yes, so Gemini for the Chariot. And then again, the Seven of Swords there in the center as being the center of this Decan. And then on the right here, we have Judgment, which is standing in for Mercury. I'm sorry, one of my crystals just tumbled over. Mercury. Okay, so we've already seen Judgment in a previous video, but how does this help to inform this Decan? Let's start off with the Chariot, because the Chariot is the card for Gemini. And we will see that card show up for the next two Decans after this one. Yes, the Chariot. Love this card. One, not my favorite in the deck, because my favorite in the deck is the Hanged Man, and I've got a couple of others that are above the Chariot, but I do like the Chariot. Chariot's a good, strong card, shows will, determination, mental power, but there are those two different colored animals, beasts usually, in this card. Now here there are sphinxes in the Smith-Waite deck, yes, but even in other cards, in this Tarot de Marseille it's two different horses, in other decks there are two different other beasts sometimes, but still, they're usually two beasts of some sort that the charioteer, we imagine, is charged with trying to get together and go in the same direction, right? We can think of those two as different aspects of the mind. Doesn't that sound a lot like Gemini to you? Two different aspects of the mind, the twins, we want to get them together and moving in the same direction. That seems total Gemini to me. So, I'm very happy with this being the Gemini card. And why is it Gemini? Because this is card number 7, and the 7th Hebrew letter is Zayin. And Zayin kind of looks like a cane, actually, to me. Yeah, a walking cane, a walking stick. And Zayin is associated with the zodiacal sign of Gemini. I mean, it just is, according to the Sefer Yetzirah that I'm working with, yes? And most recensions of the Sefer Yetzirah will agree that Zayin is associated with the Chariot. The only associations that are, well, not the only, well, okay, let's not get into that. That's all. You can find that information in that playlist I talked to you about, Walking the Lines of Origins to Deeper Strata. I had the card up here for you to click on and hop on over if you wanted to explore that. So, Chariot, Zayin. And Zayin connects just so you know, and you can see it up here, Chokmah and Gevurah. Yeah, it connects Chokmah and Gevurah. You can see that there in yellow. And that means it's connecting wisdom to severity. So the wisdom that we gain from the monad, from the source of all, moves down into our rules, regulations, and the judgment and the clarity of a Gevurah. That's a little harsh, it's a little severe, but it's a good balance for, or a good maybe discernment center for the wisdom of Chokmah. And when it's discerned, we can move forward with the wisdom that we've gathered. The wisdom in Chokmah is so diffuse. It's there, but it has no form, no shape, no container. It's like a fog that you can't really get your hands on. But if you get it contained and separated and organized, we can do something with it, right? So think of that as that connection from Chokmah to Gevurah. And Zayin, what is that letter? The letter Zayin is sustenance and nourishment, which reminds me that I'm very hungry. It's lunchtime is going to be a little late for me today, but this is not the card of lunchtimes or lateness, but it is sustenance and it is nourishment. And it's also a weapon or sword, yeah? So we can think of the charioteer as being a returning warrior prince who would have a sword or a weapon of some sort. And it's also cutting up time, that the division of time into 7 days of the week. Yeah? In Hebrew tradition, which is the Sefer Yetzirath, which is the tree of life, right? In Hebrew traditions, right, there were 7 years were a group as well. And 7 times 7, 49 years were all grouped together. And then the 50th year was a jubilee. Now, a time of the releasing slaves, forgiveness of debt, all of those wonderful things. So this 7 is a cutting up and separating of time and organizing time. Also, spiritual warfare is possible. That could be a spiritual warrior up there in that chariot there. And balance, right? Balancing those two different beasts that we have drawing our chariot forward if things are working well. Now, because this is the 7th letter, the rune that would be associated with the number 7 is Gebel, which kind of looks like a big X. And Gebel is the rune for gifts. It's the rune for divine generosity. It's the rune for partnership. Yeah, the partnership of those two beasts, the partnership of Gemini, of exchanges and loyalty. Now, those twins might have different ideas. They might want to go in separate directions, but still, they are loyal to each other. They are not necessarily joined at the hip, but they are, they want to be together. Yes? So these are ideas that inform the 7 of Swords. It's there's the potential of using the mind as a weapon, but there's also potential of and separating things, right? But also the potential of balancing things, of connecting things, of exchanging, of being generous intellectually, of finding harmony, and being loyal. Even though we have the tendency to be scattered, we can find loyalty. And if we can find loyalty, maybe we can avoid the problem of not being able to make decisions, of being indecisive, of being confused. Yes? So, some other things to think about with the chariot are positive traits of flexibility, intelligence, communication, and adaptability. All things that we've already mentioned. The Gemini card reconciles opposites. Yeah? It is able to balance the pillar of pillar, that's the right word. The pillar of severity, which is the mother pillar, and the pillar of generosity, which is or mercy, which is the father pillar. It's able to balance those and bring those together on the central pillar. Creating harmony and allowing the flow of life, right? Also the twin tablets of Moses on the mountain coming down, written in the Torah, written down. And okay, so they're the twin tablets of Moses with the Ten Commandments. There's also the idea of the Torah, the written and oral tradition, being merged, balanced, joined in this card. Communication and intellect. It's a time for study and reception of divine wisdom as well. So we are looking around, but maybe we also do want to take moments to at least do a little bit of study. Now, maybe we don't have to expect that we're going to dive deep, but still, we want to study, we want to learn, right? And there are the biblical twins. For example, Jacob and Esau, right? One of them is the masculine warrior, hunter, and the other, Jacob, is the more innocent, the more mild of the brothers. The one is the warrior, hard, masculine. The other one is the softer, more innocent, right? And those two together, just one of them is out of balance. Together, there's a balance and there's a unity and a wholeness to both of them. Now, eventually Jacob does win out, but still, there's a reason why Jacob was not born alone as an only child, right? So, all of those things to consider when we think of this time, the balancing of things, different aspects of perhaps self or experiences in the world, of joining things together, oral communication as well as written communication, harshness and severity, as well as mercy and kindness. Right? We want this together. The Gemini twins joined. That's what this card is showing us, I think, in the Chariot card. Now we move over to the Judgment card, which is a representative of Mercury, because the Judgment letter would be number 20, and the 20th letter in the Hebrew alphabet is Resh. And Resh looks kind of like this. And Resh is, where is Resh on the Tree of Life? The Resh joins Tiphereth and Yesod. It joins the Sephirah of beauty to the Sephirah of foundation. You could say it joins the heart to the root chakra, maybe. Yes? But it does. It joins the beauty and the state of preparation for manifestation. Because manifestation is the next step after that. 10 with Malkut, yes? But it's the foundation ready to manifest. So Resh is associated with the head, right? Beginning a new cycle as well. It's the number 200. It points to both wickedness and higher consciousness. Again, that idea of twins, things doubled, coming together. The different directions of the spectrum joined together. It's the choice between ego and humility also. It's beginnings, again, it's poverty, but it's also leadership. You could think of it as maybe the servant master, right? The master who is the servant of those he, she, or they are the master over. Yeah? Have you heard that concept before, the master servant? Not the master of the servants, but the master who serves those under them. Yes? So that's the Judgment card. That's the beginning of the Judgment card. It also points towards the planet, of course, Mercury. And Mercury rests comfortably in the Sephira of Hod on the side. You can see that in the Tree of Life, right? So we've got, for me, Hod is surrender. Surrender to what is. So Mercury here doesn't fight against what is, although there is the quality of the warrior in the chariot. Still, Mercury, on his, her, their own, surrenders and accepts what is and skates over the surface of what is and finds their own path without trying to break down any barriers that seem to pop up before us. Now, as far as runes go, yeah, the 20th rune is Manaz, which kind of looks like an M with extra bars. And it's the rune for destiny. It's the rune for self-knowledge, though. Self-knowledge, Mercury, sounds good. Spiritual power. The messenger of the gods has spiritual power, yes? Of intelligence and foresight, very mercurial things. And creativity as well. Also divine order and awareness, right? Mercury is, think of Mercury getting ready to also go into Virgo. Mercury likes order. Also a trickster, but also likes order. So we have all of those things here in Mercury with the Judgment card. And for me, when I see the Judgment card and I think of Mercury, I think of that angel above being Mercury, calling out. So, Judgment is the card for wisdom, transferring of wisdom as well and intellect. Often viewed as a scribe, Mercury is, due to its proximity and rapid movement around the sun. This is the sun's scribe. Also, this is the planet of enlightenment and expertise, and also analysis. Also, so remember, right now, Mercury is in Gemini, a less mature sign, but it's ready eventually to go into Virgo, a more mature sign, where that analysis and that expertise will flourish. Right? So that's getting ready for later in the year. But now we've got a lot more of the scribe, the following, to moving quickly around, learning things, exploring things. What's out there? What insights can I get? Then I can talk about them. Right? Then I can blow my horn. And remember that the oracle card, what was it? What kind of guy was he? The sagacious man on the prancing horse blowing a horn? Well, we got the angel here blowing the horn too, and the sound coming out. It's not gold and huge, but still you can see the sound coming out of that horn, right? So all of these things are very intriguing for this decan of our experience here on this planet Earth, in this universe. A lot of exploration possible, a lot of wisdom, a lot of insight, a lot of potential to learn, potential to study, potential to communicate, potential to use all of our tools, but also a potential to find balance and finding the middle path. Does that make sense? Okay, friends, so I saw these cards and I developed a 3-card spread from these cards. So I looked at the Chariot and my question was, what can I focus my attention on? Right? Because that is the beginning of the Chariot's work, to get these two beasts to move in the same direction, to focus. What can I focus my attention on? The question I pulled from the 7 of Swords was, what insight can I get? I'm thinking of that, all of those swords as insights. Now the guy leaves 2 insights behind, but is carrying 7 forward. So maybe let's explore one of those. So what insight can I get? And maybe it's one, maybe it's several. We'll see what the next tarot deck is going to teach us. And then the third question was from Mercury here in Judgment: what wisdom will follow? Yes, so again, what can I focus my attention on? What insight can I get? And then from that insight, what wisdom will follow? Does that make sense? Okay, friends, I've got a really interesting deck for you to take a look at. Are you all ready? Here it is. Friends, do you know this deck? This one here? Yes? This is called the Tarot of the She. And there will be a link in the description box. It's a mass market deck, but just to let you know that what you see here is going to be a little different from the deck that you purchase if you purchase it now. I have trimmed mine down. I have cut off the side borders. And I really do like this, my trimmed version. Now, I also edged mine in purple. I don't know if you could see that from the pictures, maybe not, but I love this deck. I love it in its trimmed version, even though I'm not the most expert trimmer of decks, but still, I'm very, very happy with this. I'm happy with the openness of this, of these images now that they can butt up against each other a little bit. And you could see that this deck was spewing major arcana forth in response to my 3 questions, right? We got from left to right, we got the Temperance card, we got the Empress card, and the Tower card. Woo, scary. But, okay, just look at that Tower card, though. Yeah? This is the most positive Tower card image I have seen, I think, ever. Right? Instead of something breaking down or being destroyed, what we see is a liberation in this Tower card. This is the most liberated looking Tower card I think I have in my library. Yeah? But we're going to start off from the left with Temperance. And you can see I've got another Tree of Life up here, and the purple, I don't know, does it look purple to you? It's supposed to be purple. The purple is there for the cards that we're looking at now. Yeah, so Temperance. Yes, Temperance. Temperance, which answers what can I focus my attention on? This whole spread that we've been looking at, right, with the Chariot, the Judgment, the joining of 2 things together, right, screams temperance, in a sense, doesn't it? So what can I focus my attention on? Doing that action, joining those opposites, the mercy and severity, the light and the dark, the surface and the deep, the active and the passive, the spoken and the written. We want to join all of those directions of the spectrums into one, the Temperance, and do the alchemy of Temperance, right? Temperance in the Crowley deck is called, in the Harris Crowley deck, I'm very sorry, Lady Frida Harris, I love you. Yes, the Harris Crowley deck is art, right? It's the alchemical process. So, Temperance. Love this card. We've got, actually, this Temperance card, the Temperance card was the first card that the creator of this deck drew when she realized she wanted to draw a tarot deck, right? And it started off with the drawing of the angel for this, and then it became the Temperance card. And when it became the Temperance card, that was about the time when she decided, I'm drawing a tarot deck. Who knew? Yeah? So, that's a pretty cool story. Temperance for us now, not only me, us now, since you're following along, is related to Scorpio. which might freak you out a little bit. I understand, but why? Temperance is the 14th letter, is number 14. The 14th letter of the Hebrew alphabet is Nun. And what is it? It looks kind of like this. I don't know. This gesture is probably not going to help you. But the letter Nun, you can see it here on the tree of life. It is the, and it's really hard to see. It connects Netzach and Yesod. Yeah, I've got it highlighted in purple, but the space is small, and so the letters for temperance, the word is long, so you can barely see it maybe. But I wrote above the letter Nun, temperance, and it connects, again, Netzach, which is victory and foundation. So we win and we get ready to manifest. Right? Kind of a temperance, alchemy kind of position in the sphere of divine energy, don't you think? Yeah, it's that moment before creation. So we join our victory to that moment right before creation. Very temperance to me. And the letter Nun points to a serpent or a fish, which is kind of scorpion. Yeah, I mean Scorpio-esque, scorpion in that sense. It's also the faithful one. Believe it or not, Scorpios, I've got a Scorpio ascendant, by the way. Scorpios are very faithful. Yeah? Intense, but faithful. We're also very caring. People have a very harsh opinion of Scorpios, yeah? Scorpios are also very caring in a very intense, deep, perhaps a little bit painful way, yeah? There's also the idea of carrying knowledge from the old world to the new. Think of Noah on the ark, traveling from the old world, which is destroyed, to the new world, which is assisted in being reborn by Noah carrying all those animals, right? Carrying that information from the old world to the new. That's part of the Nun letter as well. Also, humility. So we want to focus on the movement of information from the old to the new. Humility, caring, faithfulness. Something that might be a little bit uncomfortable for the Seven of Swords. Yeah, that faithfulness thing. I want to go my own way, but we're asked to focus a little bit of our intention on being faithful, on being a little bit more steadfast. Yes? Now, the rune for this card would be Perthro, which kind of looks like a cup on its side, and it is the rune for decisions. It's the rune for mystery. It's the rune for prophecy. Yes? And also the occult skills, the intellect, fertility and partnership. Partnership, remember, we want to focus on partnership as well. But also that ability to get insights, right? Occult skills, prophecy. Very Seven of Swords, potential activities. Positive traits for the temperance are emotional sensitivity, deep understanding, and spiritual intuition. So whereas Gemini, Mercury in Mercury in Gemini wants to skate on the surface, the temperance card is asking us to go deep. So it might be, we can do that, but our desire is to skate on the surface, but we have the potential to go deep. And so what can I focus my attention on? We want to focus more on the depth if we can, when we can. Does that make sense? The Scorpio sting is poison, but it's also a medication. Yeah? And so the Scorpio sting can be transformation. Right? It's the challenging process of bringing the subconscious thoughts or unresolved issues to the surface, to our awareness. And the sting or intensely emotional pain that is necessary for deep personal growth and spiritual understanding. So that's something we want to give our attention to. We go deep and we might find some undiscovered, uncomfortable things. And remember, some of that stuff that we get, some of the insights that we receive, we talked about earlier in this video, are uncomfortable. And so we have that reinforced here. But they're necessary for our development, for our growth and our evolution. One thing to be aware of is that apathy, foolishness apathy or frostiness towards holiness and a cool attitude are possible. A calculated approach is possible, but also intense passion and powerful inner strength are possible as well. And maybe, again, we want to bring both of those together. Our ability to be cool and reserved, but also our ability to be intensely passionate. Scorpion things to do. And in doing that, we can transform bitterness or coldness into warmth and sweetness. Here in the Temperance card. Does that make sense? Now, for the creator of this deck, she points to this being the first card being drawn, but also there's a combination of the masculine and the feminine in this image, according to the creator. Yes, the masculine fire of the sun and the feminine icy lunar energy together. The ice melts, giving forth life-giving water in this card. Right? The angel and the moon seem to be one in this card. Yes? So, the angel and the moon, lit from below with the fire of the sun, gives life-giving waters down to the earth. Very Scorpio, very Temperance, very what we could give our attention to now, I believe. Right? The alchemy of bringing the fire and the ice together for life-giving water. The depth, just revealing the pain and the unprocessed experiences so that we can do the spiritual work of process and transformation for growth and evolution. That's what we want to focus on in this 10-day time period, right? And that leads us to, well, what insight can I gain? And we gain the insight of the Empress, right? There's a fertility that will reveal itself for us, perhaps. Right? The Empress for me is Jupiter. Expansion, expansiveness. Why? Well, good fortune. Wishes coming true. Why? Because the Empress is the third letter, which is Gimel, which is associated with Jupiter. And the Empress connects Binah and Gevra. You can see here on the Tree of Life. It connects Binah and Gevra. It connects understanding and severity. So we understand the wisdom that we get from the divine and we join it with our mother pillar. This is the right way, this is the wrong way, this is the correct form, this is the incorrect form. We delineate, we box, we separate, we clarify, we do that harsh work of organizing our understanding. Yes? But there's also an expansiveness to that. There's a blessing to doing that work. And the letter Gimel is a letter for a camel or hope. Yes? It's the generosity of moving towards the weak to nourish them. It's also generosity and kindness in the Empress card. And now the rune that would be associated with the third letter is Thurizaz, which is a thorn, but it's also power, and it's protection, and it's defense, and it's overcoming obstacles. So she has the power to do all of that. There's justice and righteousness in the Empress for me. There's also benevolence and expansion for the Empress. Yeah? She's got justice and righteousness and expansion and benevolence of Jupiter. There's a boundless expansion to Jupiter, right? There's an outpouring of divine love and grace with Jupiter as well. All very Empress things. And yes, some people might be saying, Empress girl, Jupiter boy, no, but she is for me Jupiter. And looking at this card, so the insight I can get is what? It's overcoming obstacles. It's generosity. It's kindness. It's expansion. It's divine love. And the creator of this deck says her dress has become a spring landscape, right? Bursting with life. Showing how the fertile land is part of her very being. Her being is the fertile land. Yes? And it expands, and it is wealthy, and it is abundant, and it is Jupiter. Now she says that the figure here is the image of Daru, and I'm not really good with Celtic or the British Isles spirituality personally, right? But it's Daru, the mother of the okay, now I'm not sure I'm going to pronounce this right. The Tuatha de Danann, which is the tribe of the gods. So she's the mother of the gods. Yeah? Okay, so she's the Empress, mother of the gods, right? Maybe she's like another idea of Mother Earth, of Gaia. Look at that hair. Look at how expansive and abundant her hair is, too. Very, very much like another planet there on top of her head, right? Holding a flower out. And some people would link her to Venus, I know that, but for me, she is Jupiter. And Venus is on another card for me in the tarot. Okay, so what wisdom can follow? We got the tower, right? And for me, the tower is Capricorn. Why? Because the 16th letter of the Hebrew alphabet is Ayin, and it connects what? It connects Binah and Tipreth. Yes, it connects. So we had the connection of Binah and Gevurah with the Empress, and here we have the connection of Binah and Tipreth. It connects our understanding to beauty. And you might be thinking, what? How is that the tower? How is beauty revealed from understanding with the tower? Well, if you look at this card, you can kind of see how beauty is revealed through our understanding in this card, right? Beauty breaks free into existence. Yeah? From the insight of our understanding. So what wisdom will follow? Well, this is the wisdom that will follow. And it's a Capricornian wisdom. And you can see that, I didn't mention, I'm sorry, back on the Empress, we also had the planet Jupiter, right? And Jupiter is associated with Chesed. You can see on this purple, right? Chesed with the Empress. So that also gives us loving kindness for the Empress card as well. Loving kindness, as well as the joining of Binah, understanding, and Gevurah, severity, we have the loving kindness of chesed. Okay, so back to the tower. Sorry, crystal jumping off of the table. The tower. Ayin is the eye. That's the eye. And you can think of the Harris Crowley deck. There's an eye shooting energy into the tower, which bursts it open, right? It's also spring. It's to see and understand. So the wisdom that will follow is our understanding, our revelation, our being able to see, our clarity. It's the light of God. And remember, the light of God is also Lucifer, right? Before the fall, the light of God was Lucifer, the light bearer. Now, I'm not saying that you should worship Satan. That's not what I'm saying. It's that what we are afraid of and we perceive as evil and the devil and Satan is actually the light of God transmuted or captured or trapped. And it calls for a different understanding, a different way of perceiving. So here, insights and perception are very strong. Inner vision is very strong in Ayin. Now the rune that would be associated is Sowillo, which kind of looks like a lightning bolt. The lightning bolt of the tower, right? Which is the letter for the sun. Interesting, right? But also elemental power and victory. Victory, power. Success, honor, knowledge, willpower, and victory again. Okay? So all of those things are part of Sowillo, which is the victory of liberation, perhaps, that is potential in the tower when read upright. For me, so if I'm reading the tower as a positive card, as the upright version, it's liberation, it's freeing, it's victory over. Yeah? It's that piercing light of the divine. It's the eye breaking into the darkness that we trapped in, perhaps, in the darkness of the devil, trapped and breaking in and breaking free and liberating. Now, positive traits for me for this card are contemplation, deep understanding, and spiritual reflection. And also spiritual rectification. Yeah, getting right with God. Spiritual rectification, whatever you want to call that divine being, whether it's getting right with the universe, getting right with Allah, getting right with Brahman, getting right with Gaia, getting right with the Great Spirit, getting right with your higher self, your higher being, your guardian angel, whatever you want to name any of that. Yeah, getting right with that. Yeah, spiritual rectification. There's an atonement and a sacrifice that is called for in this as well. Yeah, it's not an easy just, oh, I'm free. It's a breaking forth, right? Which calls for sacrifice of what has kept us trapped. And maybe what has kept us trapped has become comfortable for us because we've been in that shell for such a long time. The butterfly breaking out of the cocoon is probably not very comfortable the first few moments of its life in the air. Yeah? It has to dry itself out and then suddenly, oh, I can fly. But before that, it's broken out of its safety container, right? It has sacrificed its safety for something higher and more beautiful. So think of that when you think of the tower. We have the spiritual tools to navigate times of navigate times of Oh, what was I saying? Oh my gosh. I don't know why I was saying that, but I will continue saying it. So we have the spiritual tools to navigate times of disruption and discomfort. Okay? And there's also the potential to navigate the times of cleansing, of sloughing off those shells. Also, we have ambition, Capricorn, to ascend, to get to the top, to connect with the divine. We have the spiritual ambition to ascend to higher levels of consciousness and connection with the divine, whatever we want to name that. That's the wisdom that will follow from the insight of the expansion of the Empress. And we have a balance between grounded and the ambitious and the spiritual, right? We have the grounded, ambitious, earthly goat of Capricorn. And the deep spiritual waters of the unconscious fish tail in Capricorn, right? The work is to elevate the physical to the spiritual with Capricorn. Yes? So, the creator of the deck and this card says that instead of a great bolt of lightning striking from an outer source, it emerges from the eyes and mouth of the figure, sacred fire purging unnecessary trappings of life. Right? So that energy, the lightning bolt, is coming out of the being who had been trapped in this shell, from which it is bursting forth. Yes? Now, if you look at these three cards closely, one of the cool things of the major arcana for this deck is that there is a glyph, right? It's a spiral that comes out and out and out and out, and then it comes up to the top, and then there's a line down through it. Do you see that sigil? So, that sigil on the tower is the easiest one to see. It's right there at the feet of the tower being, right? That symbol down at his, her, their feet. That sigil on the Empress in the center is right there around her enlarged abdomen. Where is the sigil on the Temperance card? It's there, but now I can't see it. Do you see it? Do you see the sigil, the glyph on the Temperance card? It's got to be there. I see it. I see it. I think it's very, very small, and I think it's on the angel's wing. But if you know where that is, let us know in the comments below. Okay? Okay, friends. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining me. I think this makes sense, right? And I think the 3-card spread here makes sense. That we do the work of Scorpio to focus our intention. Yeah? The insight we can get is an Empress Jupiter-like expansion and evolution, and Queen of Godliness, from which we will allow ourselves. The wisdom that will follow is the wisdom of being able to break free from our shell, from our protection, from our, but also from our trap. From our self-created walls of protection and encampment. Yes? Okay, friends, thank you very much. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Thank you for joining me on this deck, and I hope that this is helpful for you. I hope you're excited as I am. And now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.